The fluorescent lights flickered one last time as Emma pressed the switch behind the counter. The grocery mart was finally closed. Outside, the night hummed with the lonely buzz of a failing street lamp. She exhaled a shaky breath, brushing strands of hair from her face, exhausted from a long shift that had stretched far beyond what she'd been scheduled for. It was just past midnight. The store had emptied out hours ago. Or so she thought. Emma bent down to lock the register, counting the bills with trembling fingers. She hated closing shifts. The long dark aisles, the emptiness, the feeling that someone might still be lurking. But she needed the money. Rent was late again. She couldn't afford to lose this job, not after everything. Her supervisor had rushed out earlier, muttering about a family emergency, leaving her alone to finish the close. That left Emma to take the trash out, count the register, mop the floor, clean the coffee station, all the things two people usually did. Her legs hurt, her back hurt, her eyes burned. She wanted nothing more than to collapse into her small apartment bed and sleep for a week. She zipped the cash bag and slid it into the safe. The metallic click echoed across the empty rows of cereal boxes and canned beans. Done, she whispered to herself, grabbing her backpack. She walked toward the large glass front doors, humming a tune under her breath, trying to keep her nerves calm. Whatever unease was left in the store, she wanted to leave behind. But as soon as she reached for the lock, a loud banging hammered the glass. Emma jumped back with a gasp. 3 men stood outside, shadows in ripped jeans and hoodies, faces partially covered. One of them smirked, tapping the glass with the end of a knife. The tallest leaned close enough for Emma to smell the alcohol through the door. "Hey sweetheart," he slurred. "Store looks open to me." Emma's heart pounded. Her fingers fumbled over the deadbolt. "We're closed," she said, her voice barely steady. The short one cupped his ear theatrically. "What was that? Did she say, 'Come in'?" "That's what I heard." They all laughed. Emma locked the door faster. The ringleader stepped forward again. "We just want to buy a few things. Let us in." "There's another store down the road," she replied. His eyes hardened. "But we want you to help us." Emma stepped back. The door was thick, but her fear wasn't eased. Her phone was already in her hand. Her thumb hovered over 911. "You're making a mistake, girl," the tall one hissed. "Open the door before we break it." No one should have been here. The parking lot security lights had been broken for weeks. The cameras were fake. She knew because her supervisor always bragged about how they saved money by not replacing real ones. Emma swallowed hard and retreated into the store. They followed her movements with hungry eyes. One reached into his pocket and pulled out a metal pipe. He smiled as if this was a game. "We're getting in either way," he said. Emma turned and ran. Toward the back room, toward the emergency phone, toward any help. Panic crawled up her throat. She didn't want to cry, but her body was already shaking. Her footsteps echoed like gunshots in the silence. The men outside continued pounding, laughing, taunting her. It wasn't just a break-in. They enjoyed watching her fear. Emma stumbled into the stock room and slammed the door behind her. Her shaking fingers dialed 911, but the line didn't connect. No signal in the back, like always. She leaned against the wall, tears forming. "What do I do? What do I do?" she whispered. Then, a slow, heavy bootstep echoed from the shadows of the stock racks. Emma spun around, eyes wide. She wasn't alone. At first, she thought she was imagining things. Maybe her fear was making her hallucinate. But then, from behind the stacks of soda crates, a massive silhouette emerged. Leather jacket, tattooed arms, a dark helmet hanging from 2 fingers. Emma gasped, instinctively stepping back. The man towered over her, silent and imposing. His beard was thick, his eyes sharp, like someone who'd seen too many fights. She recognized him. He was one of the bikers who came in earlier that evening, loud at the register, filling the store with engine scent and booming laughter. They bought canned energy drinks, protein bars, and left a generous tip. Emma had been too nervous to do more than smile. 3 others stepped out from behind him. Leather vests, patches glinting, knuckles scarred. They had been there the whole time. Maybe resting, maybe hiding, maybe watching. The leader, a broad man with a gray streak in his hair, spoke first. His voice was low, controlled, but filled with something dangerous. "You in trouble, kid?" he asked. Emma's lips parted, but no words came. He nodded toward the front. "We heard them." His jaw tightened, and for the first time since the pounding started, Emma saw an emotion in someone else that mirrored her own, but his wasn't fear. It was rage. Stay back, he told her calmly. He stepped forward, rolling his shoulders like a fighter warming up for a match. The other bikers aligned behind him, cracking their knuckles, stretching their necks. The thugs smashed something against the front door, the loud crack echoed through the store. One of the bikers grinned. "Oh, they shouldn't have done that," he muttered. Emma couldn't move. Her legs felt rooted to the ground. She managed to whisper, who are you?" The gray-haired one looked at her with a surprisingly gentle expression. "People who don't like bullies," he said. Then he started walking, boots thudding rhythmically, aisle by aisle, closer to the front. Emma followed from a distance, heart pounding, adrenaline surging. The bikers passed the candy shelves, the freezer section, the coffee display, like warriors stalking prey through a silent battlefield. The leader motioned with 2 fingers. The others spread out, taking positions where they wouldn't be seen from outside. They moved like they'd done this before, many times. Emma peeked around the corner. One thug was now kicking the bottom of the glass. Crack. Tiny fractures began to spread. The tallest pressed his face to the glass. "Last chance, sweetheart." He raised the pipe. That was the moment the bikers reached the door. And then, the gray-haired leader unlocked it. The thugs froze in confusion. The door slowly swung open, squeaking ominously. The bikers stepped into the faint moonlight. Leather, metal chains, cold glares. The leader tilted his head with a smirk. "Stores closed, boys." The pipe-wielding thug's grin flickered into fear. Who the hell are you?" The biker cracked his knuckles. The one still inside. Then he lunged. Emma's breath caught as fists collided with flesh, as chaos erupted under the broken streetlight. The thuds, the shouts, the gasps, it was no longer her nightmare. It was the thugs, and Emma watched from the doorway, trembling. Not from fear anymore, but from relief. Because she wasn't alone. Not tonight. If you'd like, I can continue with